Njoki, and that is my sign name. Today, our sign language interpreter doing voicing is Tobias Omondi. We are here to share with you different experiences, and also we are here to create awareness and change perspectives in different topics and different issues in the world of today. The show always airs here on Science TV at 7:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. every Friday, and we also have a repeat on Sunday at 7:30 to 8 p.m. And the show is also aired on YouTube. That is in case you miss the Friday and Sunday show. Don't worry, we got you covered. On YouTube at Science TV, you'll be able to get the voice show. Today we are going to discuss and share about gender-based violence. That right now we have 16 days for activism that is currently going on the issue of gender-based violence. November 25th to December 10th, those are the 16 days for activism. We're going to share stories that are majorly focusing on gender-based violence, and that's why I am here today, and that is why the voice show is here, so that we are able to create awareness about that topic. I want to talk to you about the 16 days for activism and what has happened during that time. One story in particular, I think it was on first in December, I believe. We were, expecting to have holidays. We're enjoying in December, having good time with family. But sadly, that is not the case. Right now, people are disappointed. People are very angry because on December 1st, what happened in a village in Lare, I believe it's Lare, something very tragic happened in Meru County when people were going for circumcision, a traditional experience that normally happen all over all communities have that. It's always a rite of passage for men in other countries where they go for circumcision in order to celebrate a boy becoming a man. So during this event, it's a generational event, but right now it's changed. And right now there are other people who opt not to do the traditional way, but they opt to go with the modern way of going to the hospital to have that happen. But there are still other people who practice it traditionally. Now, the sad story about this particular one that happened, during that traditional ceremony for the circumcision that was happening in Meru County, the story, there are different perspectives to this story, but what I got from Twitter was that there was one lady who was walking around the same area on the road, and what happened, we had a gang of about 10 boys. Imagine that, 10 boys, 10 men, not even boys. I have to control myself with this story because it gets me really emotional and upset. So this gang of boys decided to rape this girl, all of them, each one of them, and it was a very shocking and tragic story. The girl was screaming. From the video, the girl was screaming, crying for help, but she couldn't defend herself. From these 10 boys. Now, when this girl was later taken to hospital, some thought that she had died. There was rumors that she was still alive. The story wasn't clear at that time. So the DCI knows about this story because themselves, they said that they found very many distress calls that were ringing in their office, and on following up, they were shocked to get that it was a rape case involving a gang of 10 men and that young girl. The men had been arrested, and in the comment section, people didn't know the story. People were asking what had happened. People were also saying different stories, and people were saying this always happens deep in the rural areas where these stories are not known. This particular one happened in northern parts of Meru. And before, there were people saying that when they were young, they used to see when they were young, during this time of circumcision, most of the young girls normally were locked in their houses, and they didn't know why that was. But now it's coming to light that these cases kind of were happening, because they were saying if the ladies used to meet, the men going for this circumcision, they used to escape because they didn't know what will happen if those men, ran into them during that time. So right now I feel in the comment section, people are very upset, saying no, they need to, stop this. We need justice for this girl, because, they were feeling the pain of this girl and empathizing with that. Very many people are upset. Right now, the situation currently is in the courts. I believe the boys were arrested, and we hope that justice is going to be served for that young girl who was raped, and people thought that she was dead, but I don't think she's dead. That is yet to be confirmed. So we hope that justice is going to be found, because right now it's a holiday time. It's December. It's the season for being happy. So you see, if you come and now destroy someone's happiness and cut short her happiness, that culture should stop, and we should embrace cultures that show respect and dignity to, other people. You can't take away someone's life and in the name of culture and alter another person's future in the name of culture. Now imagine that happening. If that is happening to someone without a disability, what happens now to, imagine a case of someone with disability, especially the girls who are very vulnerable. At 2 or 3 years old, people are experiencing race, experiencing violence, and facing harassment in this situation. And before we continue, I also want you to remember that in the past, during the 16 days for activism, very many people have been coming out to, express and share their stories about the harassment that they've been experiencing, because before very many people are hiding, and now we are trying to see how we can save our people from this situation. More stories are being shared, and I want you to have an idea about, what it means to, harassment, violence. And this is the sign for harassment. That is the sign for harassment. So I want to explain to you what these different words mean and this different vocabulary. So first, I want to share with you the different forms of, violence that we have. We have physical violence, we have sexual violence, we have emotional violence that is also linked with, psychological harassment. At the same time, we also have economic violence or harassment. At the same time, SRHR, which means sexual health and reproductive health. Those are different forms of, violence that we've had. And we've been advocating for the rights of people. And after this commercial short break, I will come back to explain each and every single one of those that I have highlighted for you, so that maybe you can be able to be in a better position to understand. Sometimes, you might have experienced and you don't know that that is harassment. And that is why the Voice Show is here, so that we can be able to educate one another, we can be able to change these perspectives. We are here to give you information so that you can be able to protect yourself and be able to avoid and end this violence once and for all. We are going to take a short break, and we'll be back to continue with the discussion. Stay tuned. We are having about gender-based violence as we continue marking the 16 days of activism that is being marked all over the world, where people are coming out to share their stories, those who've been living in silence are now coming out to share their experience, so that we can be able to know, and people can know what happens in the different forms of gender-based violence. Before that, we had highlighted the different forms of violence. The first is physical. Mostly it's what you can see. Now, what happens is that maybe, people who are supposed to, in the case of persons with disability, the people who are guardians and supposed to care for them, sometimes, get in and harass them, force them. Sometimes you see when, for example, you're a person with disability, and people, yes, they might be trying to put you in the car, help you, assist you, get in the car, but they end up touching you inappropriately, and that is a way of harassment. For example, mobility, assistive devices, maybe you want to access somewhere, you find, for example, maybe you find someone who is blind, you see him moving around, then you try to help him. Instead of asking for help first, you come, take him and push him in, trying with the intention of helping, but yet that is still harassment. So in physical, another form is for example, maybe you have a person on a wheelchair, and then you see on the armrest of the wheelchair, you are leaning there, you are hanging your bag behind the wheelchair. That is wrong, and that is encroaching in someone's space. The next form of violence is sexual harassment, which is, I believe, the most common. Very many people experience it, but sometimes people are shy to report them, because sometimes you find that, for example, rape, touching inappropriately. Sometimes, this forces them forcing someone into an action that they don't want to do. That is still a form of sexual harassment. And another one is emotional harassment that leads to a lot of sadness. Women with disability, for example, experience this a lot. For example, you try to, you ignore, maybe someone goes somewhere and they're trying to get information, but they're not able to get information. Maybe you go somewhere and then someone is pretending, saying, you're my favorite, I'm trying to care for you, I'm trying to help you. So this makes people hard to, it makes them find it challenging to go somewhere. For example, you are there, you're in the neighbor, and then, they try to know that they're coming to you saying, I'm trying to help you. So you find that this person gets stuck in the society. They start developing mental health situation, and very many cases rise up, and they're not able to communicate or express themselves. And the next form is economical abuse. Many cases have happened. For example, women or girls with disability, sometimes under the program for example, Inua Jamii, because they normally offer 2,000 shillings for helping you, and maybe you have a business that they're trying to help you improve your business, so that you can be able to live independently. So the caregivers in this case, sometimes, they collect this money, saying that they're responsible for helping you with the management or something. And then another instance is you're going to work, the person with disability is going to work, but their caregivers are the ones who, end up taking their benefits from that work. For example, public institutions, private institutions, they try to employ people with disability, and the payment that they offer is not decent and it's not fair, because they think that people or women and girls with disability are very, vulnerable. They're also desperate, to get something to do. So people take advantage of that situation. They tell them, come work and then I'll pay you. And sometimes they end up even not paying them. And you find that sometimes maybe you need medical service intervention for persons with disability. where they say, oh, you need money for medical things. And sometimes, you're not offered that as well. The next one as well is neglect, where, for example, very many times you'll find girls or women with disabilities, or women in general, even without disability, in some communities, they're not taken to school. They're saying people with disability, they're saying that there's no benefit of taking you to school, because when you're done, there's no benefit you'll be able to, bring back to the society. So they face discrimination in very many cases, especially currently, right now, when schools are closed during the holidays. I feel sorry for very many girls with disability, because very many times you find their families or relatives or their caregivers take advantage of them. For example, a deaf person, they'll be given work, a lot of work, responsibility, cleaning the house, cleaning the dishes, all the burdens, they're given to them. There are very many people in the house, but this particular child is given all the burden and all the work to do. And that is another form of neglect as well. Or sometimes you find that most times during the holidays currently, people are traveling to their families, different gathering, vacations. But this girl with disability, specifically, that told you stay home while the rest go, because they feel that, they feel maybe sometimes embarrassed to walk with them and go with them to all these outings and all these places. So another thing I want to talk about is SRHR, which I want to talk about the sexual health and reproductive health that I need to talk about. There's a lot of things happening in this case. Women and girls, for example, they go to hospital and they're unable to access services freely, just like any other people. Because sometimes you find you go and then you go to the hospital. When you get in there, the nurses, they're looking at you, they're wondering, for example, you are pregnant, you go to the hospital, and then the nurses, you find that they're looking at you, they're making decisions for you, they're saying when you give birth, some babies are even taken away because they're saying that you are not able to take care of this baby because how are you able to take care of a child, yet you are the person with disability? Very many times you find very many women have been done for vasectomy without them realizing, without their decision, without their consultation, or without them agreeing. How? That's happening in the health facilities. Please, people, health practitioners, please, I know this is a concern to all of you, but we haven't gotten any justice till now, because we need to be just, because I believe that even you yourself would want other people to treat you the same. Just treat people with disability just as you treat other people without disability as well, because they have their lives to live. Now you're reporting and your information now is being shared to someone, a third party. And also another reason is very many women out there and very many people out there lack awareness, and they don't know information. They lack information about different forms of harassment, violence. Some are living in these cases without even knowing that they're going through it. They have no idea. And that's why shows like us here, The Voice Show, are here, so that we can be able to create awareness and we can be able to empower people, talk to them about these different forms of violence, and when they happen, where they should be able to report to. Hindrance towards reporting. Lack of training, especially in the health sector. When they see this happening, for example, when they see a person with disability, you see this mentality of a person with disability cannot care for their family, or they cannot make the decision. They always need a third party to consult to. But that should not be the case. You should be able to consult me directly. I, as a person with disability, coming to ask for services instead of talking to a third party. Also, another challenge that we experience is that in the police station, we have challenges in the police area. We don't have safe houses. Yes, safe houses are the word I was looking for. There are no safe houses for victims who report. We don't have a call center where people can report. And if we do, then there's no access to that information. Very many people are not aware about them. If, for example, this case of the rape, or you experience violence or you're raped, you don't know where to access a safe house. And is there one for persons with disability in particular? I don't think I've ever heard of any of that, because someone reports, goes back to the same house that they experienced that violence in. So that also makes it hard for them to go and report those issues. But the police will hear the story, tell you not to worry. Or for example, you find the police, some will laugh at the situation. And that's why many people don't feel confident. Or sometimes the families members who do this harassment, who do this abuse, sometimes just pay bribes and then they're out and back again to the same houses. Also, at the same time, you find that we have rescue centers for where you want to call, maybe you want to go for help, where they can help a victim who has experienced this. There are very few, there are not so many, and there's no accessibility to that. Very many people with disability are out here stuck with these cases without nowhere to ask them. So I hope that we need to take action so that we can be able to see in future where we can be able to change and improve the situation on these areas. Also, we need to learn about accessibility, especially for persons with disability, and inclusion. We need to have places that are accessible for them everywhere. In the police stations, the rescue centers as well, we need more of them to be established so that people can be able to get help whenever they experience any form of harassment. So, and these places should also be accessible for any person who is a victim so that they can be able to go and get services. The health sector and health facilities, when people come to access services, please, they should make them accessible and inclusive enough that any person can go in without any challenges. Information that is out there, we need to share and disseminate and share to everyone without limiting. Make sure that all the information can be read by everyone, can be understood by everyone, especially for people with intellectual disabilities as well. They should have visual representation of that information, that whenever they see it, they can be able to understand what is being told, and they can be able to express themselves in order to create a safe environment and conducive environment for everyone. Whenever someone experiences this challenge or this abuse, then they know where they need to, report, and we need to create awareness about this topic. Also, policies should be there to be able to protect us, and the law should be able to say whenever someone experiences one or two of these cases, then action is needed. Yes, we have these policies, we have laws that I know exist, but the implementation part is where there's challenges and is where there's no action. So persons with disability, the discrimination, the attitude, we need to end that. People need to have the knowledge and ideas about accessibility and inclusion. And finally, any person, remember, can become a victim of these issues. So please be safe, stay safe. Security starts with you, whether you have a disability or not. Make sure that you are aware of your environment and aware of the neighbors sitting across you. People who are out there living in gender-based violence, we send you a lot of love. We send you our compassion and love. If you're continuing to face this, please know that you can be able to make a decision and stand up for yourself and start fighting for yourself. And we are praying for you. And I hope that we'll be able to see you in the next show, where we can be able to discuss more and different topics. and changing perspectives about different issues in our society. Thank you so much and goodbye.